March 19, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E Futures Mini on the 2002 chart using NinjaTrader 8. What the chart looked like today, kind of this big choppy mess. I would say it's kind of pretty much range bound from the pre-market highs to the pre-market lows, just kind of stayed in this big range, which was about 80 points or 84 points. And it was pretty choppy. And I would say I probably overtraded today. I took a total of 4 trades, won 2, lost 2. The sequence was I lost the first one, then I won the second one, won the third one, and then lost on the fourth one. And I would say I thought the first one was a reasonable setup. Second one, definitely riskier. And then the third one, I thought was actually a reasonable setup. So it's like good, not good, good, questionable. I thought it was actually semi-decent. So the only economic data that came out was the unemployment claims, which came out at 5:30 Pacific Standard, just about right here. I'm going to go into the setups right now. Pre-market, let's go ahead and zoom in. Pre-market, there was a push up, break of this green up channel, then push down, break of this yellow orange down channel, kind of move sideways, push up, almost looked like it was 2 big legs down. Pushes down, there's a break of this orange down channel, pushes down in 2 legs, also right into the open. So on the open, it looks like it's kind of creating a bottoming pattern because this was the pre-market low and low of the day. And then it pushes down and hits this current low of the day. So it's actually a visual first entry, pullback, kind of a second entry. You could argue maybe there's a higher low here or maybe a higher low here. But this is right here. If you look at the timestamp, this is right at the first couple of minutes. And I'm hesitant to take any trades so early. If things are looking a little bit wild, it has to be a lot more has to line up in terms of key entry points. So look, it is a localized low. It is a first entry short, but I also saw this as a visual first entry short. Pull back second entry short. It gives you a lower high. Unfortunately, the lower high doesn't close nice enough for me. Chopping right through, EMA's chopping right through the bars. Left it alone. Looks like it's kind of sloppy. 2 legs down. It starts reversing, going up. I don't see any clean second entries I particularly like. Pushes up to the high side, kind of looks like it's consolidating. There's a localized high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long inside bar. Not the biggest fan of this. Pushes up. Again, it breaks, tests the high. It looks like it was almost moving up this orange up channel, but this orange up channel doesn't really come into play. I established this green up channel. This green up channel actually sets up for my first trade. So it looks like it was 1 touch, 2 touch. So it looks like it's good confirmation here, or you can see it as maybe just one localized touch area here. There's a second one, there's a third one. When I hit this third one, I created this channel here. Initially, I thought there might have been a small break here, but after it kept moving upwards cleanly, I didn't think the break was all that important. Comes down, touches it. This is the third touch confirmation. That's what gave me confidence in this channel. Pushes to the high side. So although this is a double top, I count this as a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Also, this is a localized low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short is about to fail. So when I see this in real time, I'm thinking this is a pretty decent setup, at least for 6-tick scalp. It looks like it was kind of like 2 legs down. It didn't really quite touch the high side of this green up channel, but it is bouncing off this green up channel support. And although this is a double top, I didn't reset the count. It looks like it's a first entry, pullback, second entry, decent signal bar, closed near the high. I thought, okay, there's a probable 6-tick scalp here. Don't have to worry about hitting this high just yet. So I entered. I dropped my order. I think I got slightly better fill, but I dropped it right at the top. It opens, flushes up. I thought this is great. It just needs to move up 6 ticks. Then immediately comes back down. My stop's below this candle. And then it stops me out, which was quite disappointing. Up sideways, flushes up. Now, it could be argued that I should have kept my stop down here. But this, again, kind of runs into the conundrum of, well, if this is the swing low instead of this one, because this is the entry, this is the signal bar I took. If I decided to take it here, and in this instance, if there were others, if the price action had created even lower lows, I don't know. I don't want to get into the habit of kind of keep moving it lower and lower. So I ended up losing on this trade, which is unfortunate. If I kept it 2 ticks below, this candle still would have stopped me out. The only way to have survived would have been to keep it below here. But keep it below here, the risk to reward is just too much now. And even if I was going for more, I'm running into the concern that there's a potential resistance roof right here. So I couldn't convince myself to put the stop below here. And I thought the stop below here was justified. Unfortunately, kind of like yesterday, uh, it's it's a little frustrating because I put the stop loss where I think it should just logically go, and then each time it kind of comes down and stops me out. But who's to say that if I kept it down here, prices wouldn't have proceeded further down, all the way down to here and stopped out my stop anyways. So it's kind of it's a little frustrating seeing something like that because I thought it was a valid setup, decent. Fortunately, it didn't work out for me this time. Pushes up, pushes into the green up channel. So I'm thinking the break of this green up channel is test the high, it's reversing. Break. I also thought there might have been a range at one time here, but this range doesn't really seem valid anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it for now. Just clear things up. Pushes down, break of this orange down channel, test the low, continues proceeding down. It's a localized low bottom here. This blue channel doesn't exist yet. Pushes up, first entry short, pull back. You technically have a second entry short here. Second entry short feels pretty far from the EMA. I'm not ready to go short here. I want to see a lower high. But you don't get a lower high. And unfortunately, it just kind of presses it down. Break this orange down channel, test again. So it's technically first entry short. You have an inside bar, so I still count this as one visual first entry short. Reverses up. Looks like it might be in this trading range by the time it gets over to here, but there's no clean second entries. You could argue maybe there's one here, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. But when seeing this in real time, I didn't have a channel established yet. I had a suspicion it could be a channel, but I wasn't really sure yet. It is a break of the green up channel, test the high, starting to come back down. Again, I'm looking for a lower high. By the time it gets all the way over to here, this signal bar could be a lower high, but I'm not that fond of it. It doesn't even work out, pushes up. You could say maybe there's a triple test here if you had your range slightly lower, but other than that, there was no real clean second entry, so I couldn't really take a trade like this. It would have worked out, but I think in this case, it working out was just because it happened to work out, not necessarily because it was a clean setup. Pushes to the high side, break. This actually sets up my second trade. This one's a lot riskier. So it's a break of this orange up channel, comes back down. It looks like the EMA is starting to curl up. So it is a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I saw this in real time. I saw this as a potential higher low. This higher low has several things going against it. It's not really bouncing off the EMA. It's higher low, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It is also a negative bearish bar. Well, not negative, it's a bearish bar, even though it is bullish, it's red. Should have taken that into account, but I entered anyways. Entered the high of here, thinking at least there's enough momentum to push up for a 6-tick scalp. It did, but as you can see, it quickly fails afterwards. So this, in hindsight, wasn't a clean setup. It was rather pretty risky because it's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I'm not going to discount the fact that I was probably feeling frustrated over this trade. And then the past few days, previous trade setups that I've taken, I forgot which one was which, but I've taken trades where I thought the setup was clean, but it ended up not working. And so I think this definitely would have been this definitely probably was an effect of that. So lost one, won the second one. Not a very clean setup. I would not take it again. Pushes down, break this orange down channel, starts moving down, kind of this very gradual down channel. It's a localized low. This is actually the third trade that I take, and I actually thought it was a decent setup. So I actually found the low side of this channel first. It turned out as a trend line, then I tried to match it up, and it looked like it kind of fit here. So by the time this many candles have printed, I established that this is potentially a spike in a downward channel, and I created the channel touches here based off the bottom side. Creates a first entry short, pullback. It gives you a second entry short. Second entry short, I had this line established, so I saw this as a potential rejection of this yellow down channel resistance and EMA rejection. This channel or this range doesn't exist yet, so I can't really argue that this blue line was another key entry point, but I was playing off the strength of this yellow down channel resistance, the EMA, and a really strong signal bar close. So I actually entered. When I saw this, I said, I want to try to reduce my risk a little bit. I put my entry below this signal bar, got the fill, quickly got the 6-tick scalp, left it alone. If I continue staying in the trade, or if I didn't get filled for here for whatever reason, or I entered late, this candle would very likely have stopped me out because my stop was above this one, which happened to be above this one, but not above this guy. So it was just right here, 1 tick above this guy. This would have stopped me out. The prices break this orange down channel, tests, moves back into low. Looks like it's just sideways consolidating. Creates a low, first entry short pullback, second entry short, not the clean signal bar that I liked. This is actually where it sets up for my fourth trade. So I'm thinking we're in a trading range. This yellow down channel was turned into a sideways range. The fail breakout on this side, it seems to have made a failure to break out here. First entry short, second entry short, gives you a lower high, multiple tests off this range high. I entered right here. I just sit through this noise. My stop is above this candle. It also gives you a failed second entry long potential right here. First entry long pullback, second entry long. I marked it, but it actually isn't really a clean trade. But I'll go ahead and actually put that in parentheses. Not a clean setup. Marked it because if I wasn't in on this trade, I definitely wouldn't have taken this failed second entry long because now it feels too congested. But I'm already in the trade. I'm committed. Looking for a push down to get 6 ticks. I have to sit through this noise, and finally it reverses and stops me out. So at the time, I thought this was probably a decent trade. But now in hindsight, after looking at the loss, I was trying to take apart and figure out everything that went wrong with it. This yellow down channel has broken and tested the low. So technically, this yellow down channel, if I thought it was valid, it's no longer in play. The downside momentum has reversed. It pushing up to here, maybe it's in a range, but it's a little too early to tell. It could be 2 legs up. I should have taken this trade, maybe should have waited for a better, stronger signal bar. And as I even mentioned, this isn't a good failed second entry long. If I waited this one out and saw the congestion, then I probably should have stayed out of it. But unfortunately, I was already in here committed, and it flushes back up, takes me out. So it starts moving sideways and starts pushing up again. Hits the high side, creates a localized high, say first entry long pullback, second entry long below the EMA. I'm not the biggest fan of this. Also want to mention, after taking one, two, three, 4 trades. So the first was a loss. I thought I was doing well well, actually the second trade was iffy. So first trade I thought was decent. Second trade was iffy. Third trade I thought was a decent setup. Fourth trade I also thought was decent until hindsight analysis told me that this wasn't a good trade. So definitely over trading. I decided, okay, I just need to shut things down. I can watch the charts, but now I'm not taking any, for sure, not taking any other trades. So breaks of this orange down channel, tests the low, creates a localized low, pushes back up. Almost looks like it's break 2 legs down. Almost looks like it's 2 legs. Didn't mean to do that. 2 legs back up. First entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short. This is your signal bar, not the cleanest setup. I also notice that candles are kind of side by side, moving really tightly. Pushes down on this orange down channel. Almost looks like 1 leg down, 2 legs up, another leg down, another push up. And I thought there was a possible trade here. The localized low, first entry short pullback, second entry short. Breaking this orange down channel needs to test the low. This was the first attempt. I thought this is the second attempt with the EMA bounce. There was also a smaller shortened trend channel, green channel going up. Break. Technically, this green up channel is testing the high. So this green up channel has tested its extreme. There's kind of an intention that prices will probably start moving down now to resume the test of this low. I also at this point did have another trend line drawn. So I was thinking, I had this blue one. I thought something here. So I actually thought, do prices want to creep down to here? Because this was the pre-market range high. And I was thinking, could we be in a sub range, something closer to this? So it looked like it maybe a touch the top. It's trying to get back to the bottom. So that kind of helped the cause of trying to think why this was a possible short. So second entry short, looking for a lower high if I didn't take this, and no lower high doesn't really show up till about here. Pushes down, there's a potential fail breakout of this low of this range, this blue, these two blue trend lines that might be establishing a range. Reverses back up, technically a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short, decent second entry short signal bar, but it looks like it might just be in this green up channel. And I don't want to run into a potential support line right here. So I was looking for a lower high, no lower high, not a clean lower high. By the time it gets to here, it's like first entry long pullback, second entry long failure, something like this. If I was still trading, I'd just be a little more cautious. You get a lower high here, but I wouldn't have been a big fan of this big wick at the end. So it pushes down. By the time this candle prints, I established this. So by the time this candle prints, I established this as a trend line. I'm not too sure if the top of the channel is here or up here. I ended up drawing it up here though, but it doesn't come into play yet. I only had to worry about it if prices are moving up and I was in a trade. So it becomes a new localized high, first entry long, pullback. I thought this was a possible second entry long, but it turns out to be more of an almost trade because I had conflicting ideas if this break of this orange down channel wants to test the low. So it could be the first attempt, could come back up and then flush back down. There is this yellow up channel support coming into play, but if I was trying to trade this with this first entry, second entry, I want a higher low. Unfortunately, the higher low never shows up. So this ultimately was an almost trade. By the time this candle prints, I had removed the previous thought that this was the top of the channel and extended it up. So I thought, okay, there's at least two touch confirmations. Prices are coming back down. This looks like the channel that's in play. First entry long, pullback. Technically, I have a second entry long now, but it's a failed breakout of this. I'm not sure prices are moving back in. So in order for me to want to go long, technically you have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. Technically I have a third entry, but it looks more visual first. Second, I want a higher low inside this range to be confident prices are moving back up. It gets really congested here and it continues down. So now I'm not even looking for a higher low, not just thinking prices are now just kind of figuring itself out. Localized low, first entry short, all the way up. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but it also looks like it might be moving up this green up channel. And now it's just whipping, accelerating up, which I couldn't really figure out why. You technically have a second entry long here, break of this green up channel, but there was a potential break on this side. So for something like this, I would be reluctant to go long because it's far from the EMA unless I saw a higher low. But the higher low wouldn't be the most, I guess, favorable higher low because my conditions would require that it doesn't break above this guy. And that kind of resolves itself for me because it just continues up and makes higher highs. Continues upwards, starts reversing, first entry long. Looking for a second entry long would have been really great here. Unfortunately, it breaks and pushes through the EMA. You technically have a second entry long here, two legs. So in order for me to want to even take a trade here, if I was still thinking of trading, I just want a higher low. But then this candle breaks above this one, so I'm putting to bed any ideas of a higher low. Pushes back down, bounces here. That's where I established this red down channel, but it's just getting whippy now. Localized low, first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short confirmed here, but it's kind of riding right against the EMA now, which is flattening. You'd have to base the trade off the strength of your confidence in this transparent down channel. So it's a first entry short, second entry short. In order to go short, I'd want to see a lower high. You technically get a lower high here, but these candles are just side by side now, especially after this one forms. Now it's just very confusing because it could be in its little own tiny range. Yes, it is getting rejected off this down channel, but it's not really making an effective push down to here yet. And now it actually starts doing that. Gets to here, breaks through. I'm looking for a push back up. It kind of does that and it continues down, but now it's hitting a sideways consolidation. It's also entering the last 30 minutes of the day. So if I was still trading, I'd be very cautious here. And then at the 12:30 mark, I'd be pretty much done with trading. I wouldn't have tried to take any more trades. So it pushes down, pushes back up, and then it just kind of moves sideways into the close. This from here over here is the last 10 minutes, which is very risky to trade because that's where price action kind of breaks apart. It gets a very sporadic, very erratic, and it could do a lot of unpredictable things. So I think, well, tomorrow is the last day of the ESH contracts, and will be fully in all volume. All Most of the volume has now been on these June contracts, but there's still a little left over from yesterday, not yesterday, from last quarter. So I anticipate tomorrow. I'm not really sure what's going to happen tomorrow because I don't know that there's really any. I think on Forex Factory, there's no real economic data to move the market. So knowing that, plus I've been struggling to trying to get any traction to get back into the green, and it's just been a battle. I feel like for the last couple weeks with wins, losses, wins, losses, wins, losses. I'm probably just gonna take it easy, if not just take the day off, kind of reset my mind. It was a struggle. I could just the fact that I took 4 trades today is probably an indication that my mind is it's for sure getting sloppy, and I don't think I'm seeing the charts and the price action as clearly as they're being presented. And I'm probably reaching in some cases, definitely for that second trade. So I'm gonna have to be a little more careful. Probably just take the day off tomorrow. If I do anything, I'll most likely maybe just look at the charts, maybe do simulated trading with nothing at risk. But yeah, it's just been I'm hoping next week with everything fully on the M contracts, the ES M26 contracts, things kind of clear up. This week was also FOMC rate decision week. And so that also added some strangeness because I know the first Monday and Tuesday were really slow. And then the rest of the week, Wednesday for sure with the crazy volatility today. And I don't think I'm aligned with what's going on with the markets. So yeah, hopefully things like figure this out and kind of clarify my mind and kind of get back on track. Hopefully that was helpful.